What's up, Marcy Cookies? I'm Casino Art, and today I will tell you 5 things you should never do if you ever want to grow your art Instagram. Number 1, buying subscribers, especially from Fiverr and shady apps for Instagram, things like that. Let me explain. Maybe it sounds obvious, but here's the thing. At some point, there were many influencers and YouTubers suggesting to get paid followers. That was a couple years back, but here's the thing. It's on YouTube and their stuff is evergreen. This strategy maybe would have worked several years back, but now it's not the case. But the thing is, those videos are still out there. This advice is still out there because YouTube content is evergreen. So if you're looking for a solution to grow on Instagram and come across those advice, it might actually kill you right at the beginning. Because their whole idea was that once you get some followers, it will look like you already have a following. So for people, it will feel like it's easier to follow you, which maybe worked back in the day, but in the reality, it doesn't. Because what happens is, in the past, they used to use bots. So Instagram could actually shadow ban you or even block you for these activities. Nowadays, they claim that they use real people, which is, I don't know. But even if they do use real people, even if those 1,000 subscribers are people sitting in a third world country and really following other people, it doesn't matter. Because it's not gonna help you. The worst part that is going to happen is that even if these real people will follow you, they don't actually have any interest in art. And so if your entire following has no interest in art, Instagram is gonna get confused and it's not gonna know who it should be suggesting your stuff to. Because usually those people with their account, they just follow everybody. Bunch of different topics, bunch of different niches. So you're just gonna be pushed down because Instagram is gonna get confused and real people will not actually see your stuff no matter how good it looks. Which is very frustrating and you shouldn't be going for this, especially because of some stupid advice on the internet. Saying me while giving an advice on the internet. Yeah. I actually made this mistake a few years ago when I was trying to grow and oh my god. Not only did it kill my engagement entirely, whatever I would post, whatever hashtags I would use, it didn't matter. Because all of the people that followed me at the time were bots or I think at the time it was bots because it was back in the day. But still, it totally killed my engagement and I had to spend hours deleting those followers once I realized that this is what was killing my engagement. So no, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You will waste money, you will waste your time, and then it will take you forever to get your engagement back. Just don't do it. Number 2, getting paid promotion. When you just start your art account or you just start getting active, you're gonna get a flood of messages and comments saying hey, DM me, I'm gonna help you promote your page, I'm gonna help you grow your following, blah, blah, blah. They promise that their following is real, they're just gonna expose your page and get your stuff in front of millions of people, blah, blah, blah. And sure, it might sound like it's okay to pay somebody to post your work and let other people see, because hey, you're not buying followers this way, right? But even if technically, if they post your stuff to promote, it's not gonna hurt your account, technically. The problem is, most of the time, what they do is to fake the engagement. That has to do with this promotion. What they do is they start sending those fake followers your way. So maybe you didn't technically buy fake followers, but you bought a promotion service that included them. And this absolutely sucks because they're not transparent about it. I've actually made a mistake once because it looked like people that are following artists and the art community was there and was following the page. So I thought, okay, maybe I should give it a try. And so I paid for this one promotion and oh my god, I start immediately seeing fake thousands of followers dropping down. I actually ended up contacting the promotion page again and telling them hey guys, look, I don't care what kind of arrangements you might have with those people or followers or bots or whatever, just please stop it. So they actually tried to deny it for some time and were like, oh no, those people are probably liking your stuff. I'm like, no, let's not go there. Then they started defending it oh, but maybe some of them will like your stuff. I was like, no, just cancel it. Just cancel it. Do your thing. And I don't know exactly how their arrangements work and how the process work for those scammy businesses. But the point is I had to actually make my page private for a whole day just to stop the flow. And that again, on top of everything else, is no good. when you're trying to grow on Instagram. Not to mention that I once again had to spend hours deleting those fake accounts. That was so frustrating. But hey, I made my mistakes, so you don't have to. Number 3, being inactive on Instagram. This is Dennis, my baby boy. I also have a baby girl, twins. We have to understand that even though it's not easy, being on Instagram and keep on growing, keep on getting audience is a commitment. We need to have this mindset right away because this is really the only way you can push forward and succeed. Basically, nowadays, if you are inactive on a platform, this platform is not gonna keep on pushing your stuff. Unlike YouTube, Instagram content is not evergreen. And in order to stay relevant, you need to stay current, you need to keep on posting, whether it's reels or posts. In my case, I was out of the platform for 2 years. It's been a really long time. Mainly it had to do with my personal situation, being pregnant, taking care of kids and things like that. I just didn't have a time and I wasn't able to commit and I knew it. So I took a break for 2 years and now I'm back. And of course, once I got back, I saw that while I still had my followers, like I had roughly around 4,000 followers at a time, what I quickly realized that while they stayed and that was great, it was basically a dead following just because Instagram wasn't really showing my stuff to them. Because a couple years ago, I spent a significant amount of time growing my art page, getting to that 4,000, and maybe to you it doesn't sound like much, but damn, I worked my butt off for that. In general, my followers were quite active. I had a great engagement. I did different challenges, like it was fun. I did live streams, Q&As, blah, blah, blah. But now, getting back after 2 years of absence, it was like a graveyard. I would post and nobody would see my post. I would write a story and nobody would see my story just because I've been gone for too long. So Instagram decided, oh, she's dead. So after getting back, it took me a while to get back and get the engagement back, but it's possible. So even if you were absent, you can still get back the engagement, but it's gonna take a while and a lot of work. So if you can stay consistent, if you can keep on showing up on the platform, do it, because once you get on this graveyard, it's really hard to get out. So just stay consistent and stay active. And while my example is of course quite extreme, 2 years is a lot. And of course, because of that, the response and like the result I got was more extreme. But even if you're out of a platform for a week, it is still gonna affect your engagement, your account and your following. So I would just say that if you wanna grow, if you wanna focus on this platform, you gotta focus and you gotta just keep on showing up, keep on being consistent in order to keep your following engaged and in order to let the algorithm know I'm still here, I'm not dead, do not send me to the graveyard. Next one would be posting random stuff. Now, of course, I want to think that you're not the kind of person who decided I'm gonna start my art Instagram and then you just post pictures of your cats, of yourself, and sometimes of your art. I'm just gonna assume you're past that point and you know that if this is an art account, you're gonna be posting your art, right? But here's the thing, even when you just post art, some people can get pretty inconsistent with the stuff they post, and that actually also affects their following, their engagement, and that's the reason people don't follow them back. But even if you're just posting your art, what a lot of people do is they're just gonna start posting a bunch of random stuff. And as artists, of course, we have tendency to change our style, change our medium. That's great. It doesn't mean that you can't experiment, it doesn't mean that you can't grow, but you should remain at least a period of time of consistency. For example, in the past, I used to post only watercolor. If you go on my Instagram account, you can scroll down and see that about 2 years ago, I used to post only watercolor. And that was my thing. I would post mostly watercolor, and that's the kind of people I would attract to. And while I love my watercolor and miss them very much, that is not something that I work on as much today. So it wouldn't make sense for me to keep on posting watercolor when nowadays I actually do more of a digital art. And so now I'm posting digital art. But here's the thing. When I used to do a lot of watercolor, I actually already had a style. So when you would see my watercolor, it was quite obvious that it's me. But once I switched to digital, because digital gives you so much possibilities, you can do whatever you want, literally. You can do watercolor in digital, you can do semi-realistic, realistic style, cartoonish, illustration, whatever you want, and imitate any kind of medium, which is awesome. But at the same time, for me, since I've been working in traditional media for so long, it can be quite overwhelming to form your style once again. Because I feel like even though my watercolors have a certain style, once I switch to digital, my style still still changes. So it took me some time of experimenting and trying things out in order to find my style again. And while I was posting different stuff that I was experimenting with, I had no growth, I had no engagement, and fair enough, because my profile was basically all over the place. I would have a semi-realistic food paintings on one hand, and then I would have an anime drawing on the other hand. It was all over the place. So I don't blame people if they didn't want to post me, because you gotta ask yourself what these people would follow me for. Artists, we're not a charity. People follow us for our work because they are relating to our stuff. And if you have a random stuff, random style all over your page, that's not gonna help. And so if you're currently not sure about your style, you're still developing it, it's okay. And this is where I usually get the question. Okay, Paula, I don't have an art style quite yet, but I still want to grow on Instagram, so what do I do? Well, if you don't have an art style yet, it's okay. Of course, finding your own art style, your own unique voice is very important. But if you're not there yet, not to worry. I am here to help. Basically, my tip here would be, if you're currently experimenting, you're not sure what is it that you want to do. Maybe you want to do semi-realistic style, maybe you want to do anime style, maybe you want to do stylized illustration, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's many things that you can be doing, and you can experiment with them. But one thing that I would recommend for you to do in order to make your page look consistent is picking a color palette and trying to stick to it. So for example, if I'm doing illustrations of food today, and then I'm doing some manga style drawings tomorrow, and then the day after I decide to do some portraits, what I gotta do is I gotta pick a color palette, and I'm gonna use this color palette in all three of those. So that at least, even if your style is different, at least the color palette is consistent, so your work still looks somewhat consistent. Of course, once you get your art style more defined, you're gonna grow more following, people are gonna really connect with you. Because I personally feel like in every medium I have my very own voice, and every medium I use I draw quite differently, and people usually connect with different stuff. Maybe people that used to love my watercolors are not gonna connect with my digital art as much. But honestly, as an artist, you're gonna keep growing, you're gonna change your audience, and it's okay. As long as you don't hold yourself back, it's important for you to keep on improving, keep the progress going, and you will succeed no matter what. But this little color palette trick really helped me at some point, and I think it's gonna help you too. And honestly, that's what got me from my art style block in the first place, is because I've been experimenting with color palettes, and then I suddenly stumble upon my own art style. So this little technique right there is gonna be quite helpful. Well, by now you've done the basic research, and you should know that yes, hashtags are still a thing, they're still somewhat important, and it is important to use them. But you gotta use them properly. Because what happens all too often is that people hear that they should be using hashtags, and they start first maxing them out. They start using all 30 hashtags no matter what. Second, they start copy pasting them, which is also hurting the algorithm. And third, and maybe the worst one, is that the hashtags they're using has almost nothing to do with stuff they post. So when you're posting your artwork and you want to use hashtags, what you absolutely need to do is first, write them down yourself. Don't copy paste them. Second, first couple of hashtags needs to be immediately relevant to the piece you're posting. So if I'm posting a drawing of a mermaid, I'm gonna hashtag mermaid art, mermaid, and then I'm gonna start talking about the media like digital art, digital painting. Then I gotta switch to what software I use. So in my case, it's Procreate, iPad art. So you gotta do those categories first. So first, the immediate subject relevant to your posting, then the medium you use to draw it, then what did you use? So if it's a digital painting, then what software did you use? And then more basic hashtags like art, artist, drawing of the day, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not doing a draw this in your style challenge, say, do not tag it as draw this in your style challenge, because this is not gonna help. What you should do instead is keep it between 10 to 20 hashtags. Sometimes it can be less. I would just say don't max it out, and don't copy and paste hashtags every time, because that's just gonna hurt you. Now, I don't know if hashtagging your own art name is still a thing and if it's still useful, so I can't recommend for or against it. I sometimes use it, but I don't see much of a result anyway. I think when it comes to personal hashtags, it makes much more sense to post them for an event or personal challenge that you're doing. If you're hosting a Draw This in Your Style challenge, you can do that. But I don't think that posting your art name hashtag is necessarily gonna help your growth, unless it has to do with something like an activity. Also, if you're not sure what kind of hashtags you should be using, it's a good idea to go to your competitors. So I don't even want to call them competitors because look, we're in the art community. We should be supporting each other, and technically these are your peers. So go to one of your peers page, or better 5 of your peers page, check out what they're posting, and more importantly, check out what hashtags they're using, because that might be actually useful for you. And this way you can see what is relevant, what people are looking at, because obviously you should be picking the peers that are more successful on Instagram than you are. And when picking those peers, I would say don't pick like Sam Does Art or Flop or one of those famous Instagram artists. Just go to somebody that is, let's say, 5 or 10K bigger than you. And when you do, check out the comments too, because sometimes it might look like they have a lot of followers, but you don't know if they're actually an active account, if you have a active engagement. So make sure to check out the comments as well. And checking out your peers is my final tip of the day. That is very useful for you, especially when you're just starting out, you're not sure what you should be posting. There are reels now which you should be posting as well. You should be posting reels, like it or not. And I always like to go to my peers, check out what they're posting, what kind of trends are everybody following, what kind of hashtags they're using, because this is what is relevant, this is what is current, and you want to be on this wave if you want to get the engagement, if you want to grow on Instagram right now. If you like this video, make sure to check out an interview I have with my friend Say, who has grown from 2,000 to, I believe, over 15K in just a couple months. She's got great advice that she shared. So make sure to check it out in this video over here. You can support my channel by liking and subscribing. Let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos in the comments below. I'm gonna answer every single question I get. And if you have a great video suggestion, I will make sure to do it as well. Because this channel is dedicated to you guys. I'm trying to make it helpful and get as much information in front of you as I can. So please let me know what questions you have in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time.